they treated me alright. So I treat them alright, I just listen to them. They're speaking nicely to me. If they didn't speak nicely to me, I wouldn't even bother listening. So I try and go home.
It wasn't what I expected. And again, I thought it would be far more official than it was. It was quite informal. It was extremely a friendly experience to have gone through. As a parent, you know, it makes you feel ashamed enough to be there. You know, nobody lectured us. Nobody's really lectured Jason, you know, in a stern way. They actually got him to open up and talk to them about what he had done, which Jason had been unable to do in the past to anyone. And they reasoned with him, and you know, as Jason has already admitted, he knew he was in the wrong. But it was nice to have these people from the community in front of him, ordinary people, not somebody in a courtroom or in a, you know, really official environment, that was willing to give Jason a chance and to speak to him on his own level.
Well, I think the important thing not to do is to prejudge people when they walk in the room. It's so easy to look at a young person and decide what sort of person they are. 99 times out of 100 you'd be wrong.
I think it is about being flexible. I'm trying not to judge any of the young people or stereotype them based on the way they answer or their body language, as sometimes it can be quite intimidating.
If you get a young person when you're in a panel and the young person is angry, and it only really happened to me once, I don't know if angry was the right word, he was more upset, but you can stop the panel at any time and maybe take a breather, have a cup of tea, have a break. There's no reason why you can't do that at all. In fact, you could defer the panel till another day. That's not a problem. It's not a race, you know.
I did a panel recently that was proving quite difficult. The young person came with her mum and she refused to take part in any of the things that were on the contract. Myself, the member of the yacht team and the other panel member decided we'd give them a 5-minute break. And while we were outside, they actually got into an argument and they both stormed out the room and left. When they calmed down and decided to come back, I asked the young woman why she was so angry. And there was a lot of anger that she had with her mum and how much support she wanted from her mum. So I then reversed it and asked her about what kind of things she should maybe do for her mum, because she wants her mum to do a lot of things for her. And we'd been there about an hour before they'd stormed out and left, and in about 10 minutes we'd got her to agree to most of the things on the contract. And basically just at the end to show her that we'd made some progress, and even though she said no to a lot of things before, just making her see things from her mum's point of view was a way of getting her to move forward.
In not all cases it's possible to get the victim there, but where it is possible to get the victim there, I think that the impact of that is huge. And I think the whole experience is very different from having the crime over there and the young person treated in a kind of, you know, so that like a hospital, a sterilised environment that has nothing to do with the crime. And when a young person is brought face to face with a victim, I think that has a huge impact, and they have to totally reevaluate the crime and the whole impact that has upon the victim.
I don't like speaking to my mum, like, I don't really listen to my mum most of the time. So I didn't really bother listening to her, but when I went to the panel meeting, I just listened then.
Some of the most important things you can learn for communication skills are to listen, so that you're not interpreting something somebody has said in your own way, to actually hear what they're saying.
Some young people are reasonably easy to get to talk, even if what they're saying doesn't necessarily feel very helpful to start with. But sometimes it's quite useful to latch onto those things and actually talk about the things that they're prepared to talk about, whilst you're building up some sort of rapport so that you can get around to talking about the crime, which doesn't mean that you just have a cosy little chat, but it does mean that, for example, if they're prepared to talk about school, then you can talk about school and why they're not getting on so well at school, and why they don't feel that they've made friends there or get on well with their teachers, or why they're always in trouble, before then you moving on to talking about the crime itself.
when I'm introducing the contract, I inform the young person that it's negotiable, but I also make them aware that they are going to have to do something. I also make them aware that if they're not attending school regularly, it's one of the must-be's on their contract, regardless of whether. So as much as some of it is negotiable, some of it they will be required to do, and try and get them to have, you know, say what it is they do like, so we can look at some of their contract being about things that don't feel like it's a heavy-handed court process yet again.
Well, they took into account a lot. They took into account a lot of what Jason said, particularly in relation to the offence when he hit somebody. You know, he wasn't asked, and I think that's important, is to find out the background of the case. He wasn't asked to apologise. The person that Jason had hit had been an absolute nuisance for the last 4 years and had beaten Jason's younger brother up in the past and stolen his scooter and had caused damage to my car. So I think to ask and Jason was very much in the wrong for hitting him when he did. However, he did. But the panel didn't insist, once they knew the background, you know, and Jason was able to explain as to why he did. They didn't force anything on him that he wouldn't have been capable of doing. With regard to him causing damage to a bus, I think it was fair, the reparation he had for that. You know, and they discussed it with him and agreed it with him at the, you know, prior to the contract being drawn. Again, it wasn't just, right, this is what we expect of you, this is what you'll do. It was drawn up together.
During the course of the panel, we try desperately to find out the interests of the young person, whether they're interested in sport. Quite often we have young lads that are interested in mechanicking, car mechanics or motorbikes. So maybe we would put them in touch with a garage where they're supervised to do some work.
I'd rather have them do something that they were interested in and they were feeling that they wanted to be there than painting or decorating. So we've had a young man who likes football and he was asked to help coach in a primary school. Somebody else who liked to do DJing and MCing, so he was asked to help out at a youth club. So I then think that they're actually going to turn up. They're going to take part in the contract because it's not something they don't want to do.
It's not a soft option because we include a number of things in it. The reparation, whether it's writing an apology letter to the victim, whether it's doing some community work, repairing damage if it's criminal damage, and also that they must attend a number of meetings with the yacht team, with their particular yacht worker, and maybe deal with certain issues, whether it's anger management, whether it's a drug problem that they've got. So we're not making it easy for them. They have to stick to the contract. They have to turn up at the times that we arrange, unless they have a very good reason.
The young person is asked to give their contribution about why they committed the offence. They're asked about directly, not through the parent or through somebody else attending. They're asked what it is they like doing with their spare time, what it is they feel would stop them offending. They're asked all those things. Their family are asked. The victim is asked, so that you can gain a balanced opinion of what kinds of things could go into the contract to reduce that young person's risk of offending.